Good morning, people. This is your boy Jon Mann, aka the Nappy-Headed Assassin, aka I am Manny's son, aka the Catman. And this is week 2 of the Catmann Audibles, episode 2 of the Catmann Audibles. If you check me out, it would be greatly appreciated. This is where I do my weekly picks. I am the world's worst prognosticator, so I'll do a couple previews of upcoming games, and then I'll do the picks afterwards. I'm in a running competition with my boy Pedro Lima, aka the Rican Gorilla. Go check him out as well. Um, but before I get started, man, we're in a crazy time, man. The pandemic has affected football with COVID-19 and everything like that. And what I like to say is that the craziness about this football season and the uncertainty of players becoming sick and not being sick, and there's a lot of injuries that is going on. And I think it has to do with the lack of the preseason, lack of the ability to practice. Some teams having a benefit. Tennessee, who looked good last week, I think they benefited for the simple fact of COVID-19. The beatdown they handed to Buffalo. That beatdown to Buffalo, when you have 2 weeks off, fresh, everybody's healthy, rejuvenated, I think that's a huge advantage for some of these teams. For those who are checking me out for the very first time, I am a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. As you can see, I'm rocking an old school Randall Cunningham jersey. I don't think Randall was ever this big. I think if you weigh a certain amount, you should wear jerseys that represent your weight. And since when I bought this jersey, I was 225 pounds. Now I'm a whole lot heavier than this. So it's almost like a halter top. I just would like to say that I stretched it out a bit. Got a quick shout out to my boy Marcos. He's asking Ben or Stafford today. I will always go with Big Ben. For a fantasy standpoint, Big Ben is actually one of my quarterbacks in one of my money leagues. And I am playing him this week as well. So for free, if you're checking in, give me a shout. Let me know what's going on. Let me know if you like it or like the show, like what I'm saying, things of that nature. But yes, Marcos, thanks for the pop-up. I would definitely go with Big Ben. Playing against Cleveland at home. Always have big games against Cleveland. Cleveland is playing pretty good football. But I'll talk a little bit more in depth about that game and give my prediction about that game a little bit later. Stafford with Detroit. Ironically, that is the first game that I'll be talking about this week in my preview. And we're just going to get it started like this, man. Detroit and Jacksonville. Jacksonville is 1-4. Detroit is 1-3. Amazingly, Adrian Peterson is the leading rusher for the Lions. That's never a good sign when you have a 40-year-old running back leading your team in rushing. Getting a little pretty good play out of T.J. Hockenson, the tight end, who so happens also to be the leading wide receiver. We're going against they're going against the stash, Mr. Gardner Minshew. He's a very talented quarterback. Jacksonville just doesn't have much around him. That was a great move for them to be able to get rid of Nick Foles the way they did, and they need to start building this team, hopefully around Gardner, and get him some weapons. He's actually playing with absolutely nothing on an offensive standpoint. Jacksonville has been building that defense a little bit, but they're still looking soft. The last time Detroit and Jacksonville played was in 2016, where Jacksonville had the great Blake Bortles as quarterback, and they had a pretty decent lead going into the fourth quarter. And then Stafford made that comeback, and they beat them 26-19 in Detroit. Detroit is averaging approximately about 25 points a game, but they are giving up 32 points a game, which is 29th in the league. Jacksonville is scoring about 22 points a game, which is 26th, and they're giving up 29 points a game, which is 24th. So basically, what that tells me is that their offense is lacking and their defenses are horrible. Neither one of them can stop the run, and neither one of them. Well, actually, I take that back. Jacksonville is pretty decent in the past, but they can't stop the run, and Detroit can't stop the run. I will be giving my picks with Mr. Lima's picks on this game a little bit later. The next thing I want to talk about is the Chicago Bears, the surprising Chicago Bears, and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina's coming to this game 3-2. Chicago is 4-1. Chicago pulled off the upset last week with Mr. Foles and company beating Mr. Brady. I didn't know it was fourth down. And Carolina coming off a surprising win on the road. Allen Robinson is my former Penn State. I'm a diehard Penn State fan. Got to give a shout out to Allen Robinson, the leading receiver for Chicago. Him and Nick Foles are looking like a pretty decent combination. Nick Foles, to me, is confusing because he throws a lot of ducks, and somehow they get to where they need to get to, and people are able to catch him, and which is, amazing to me. This man is the luckiest quarterback probably in the history of the NFL. I don't think you should ever name Nick Foles the starter at the beginning of the season. If you name Nick Foles as your starter at the beginning of the season, he'll be a horrible quarterback for the rest of the season. What you need to do is make sure that you have somebody else that is mediocre and name them as the starting quarterback, and then bring Nick Foles in about week 2, and then Nick Foles will do what he does. For Carolina, I'm pretty happy and I'm pretty excited about this kid. The amazing comeback of Teddy Bridgewater. That devastating injury he showed last year with the Saints, that he can still play in this league. And you could see that everything is just rounding out and rounding into form for him with this Carolina offense. Robbie Anderson, pretty decent threat. If Bridgewater could throw the ball 70 yards, I think this offense will be explosive. But he just doesn't have the arm strength to stretch the field. So everything is like in 35, 40-yard increments. But I think with him and Mike Davis in the backfield, Carolina might have the opportunity to do a couple of things later on in the season and shock a couple of people. Last time Carolina and Chicago played, it was 2017, where the Bears in a defensive slugfest beat Carolina 17-3. I'll be, like I stated before, I'll be making my picks on this game at the end of all my little previews. I am going head-to-head with my homeboy, the Rican Gorilla. We are betting 5 cents per game. Currently, he is up a nickel on the kid. He's up a nickel on the kid. So hopefully we'll find out what was the results of last week, and hopefully I can take a bigger chunk out of his wallet this week. Next game I want to talk about is Cincinnati and Indianapolis. Joe Burrows came out like, you know what I'm saying, surprising people as a rookie quarterback. Everybody expected him to do great things in Cincinnati. One thing happened. They have tape now, and last week against Baltimore, he didn't look that great. But to be fair, Lamar Jackson didn't look as well last week either. So both of those teams, you know what I'm saying, both of those two teams, from an offensive standpoint, looked average to me. It's just Baltimore just had a little bit more talent, and they were able to prevail. But with Cincinnati and Joe Burrows, they need to get Joe Mixon going. Not for the simple fact that he is my fantasy running back, and I need everything that he can give me. But to take some of this pressure off of Joe Burrow, Mixon is just too talented to be playing the way that he's playing. The offensive line hasn't really been holding up with him. Tyler Boyd is stretching the field a little bit, leading receiver for Cincinnati. With the Colts, man, the Colts are looking pretty good, man. They're looking pretty good. Last week, they had a tough loss against Cleveland, a game that was pretty winnable. But I think they're shocking a lot of people this year for their play. They're definitely shocking me. I didn't expect them to be as good as they are, but I did expect growth with this team as Frank Reich is their quarterback. Frank Reich is an offensive genius. Nobody gives him enough credit. He was probably the main mastermind of the offense of my 2017 Eagles, who's been struggling, and we'll talk about my Birds a little bit later. But Frank Reich's got that team going in the right direction, playing good ball. But Phillip Rivers look old, man. Phillip Rivers looks old. I don't know if they're going to put Brissett back in or not, but some of the throws, it's just like Drew Brees. Some of the throws he's lacking the arm talent that he's had previously. His numbers look better than his play. So if you're actually watching his play, his numbers and things of that nature, then you will realize that when we have technical difficulties falling apart at the seams, you realize that his play and hit that stats don't necessarily equate, doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. Now, Cincinnati offensively is averaging 20 points a game, defensively 25 points a game. That's not good. They're ninth against the pass. Cincinnati is. They're last against the run. The Colts have Jonathan Taylor, so Jonathan Taylor should be able to run up and down the field against its Cincinnati defense. Indianapolis is 17th with 25 points per game. Their defense is number 2 scoring defense in the league at 17.6 points a game. They're number 3 against the run. They're number 1 against the pass. And I don't think any of those things will change after this week. Next game I want to talk about is the Jets and Miami. The mess. The Jets easily are the worst team in football. I'm surprised that Adam Gase still has a job. It's just everything about this team just looks it's just horrible. It is horrible. Brian Flores on the other side, on the flip side of that, has done a pretty decent good job with this Miami team. I don't know when they're going to put Tua in. Fitzpatrick is doing what he does. Devontae Parker, one of my favorite players, looks good. Last time the Jets and the Dolphins played was last December, where the Jets eked out a 1-point win at home. They were bad. Both teams were bad last year, and both teams are pretty bad this year. Some things have never changed. Sam Darnold needs a new change of address, or they just need to get rid of Gacy. It's just a cluster over in Hofferland. When Frank Gore is your leading rusher, another 50-year-old running back, Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson, when those guys are your leading rushers, you're not going to win much of anything. And Frank Gore is barely getting 3 yards a carry. Now with the Dolphins, the Dolphins have not won a home game. So I think this might be the Dolphins have not won a home game. This might be the first week that they'll be able to get this win. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Dolphins, offensively, pretty good, 27 points a game. Defensively, a little bit average. They're in about third of everything. The Jets is just horrible all the way across the board. They are the worst offense in the league. They're only scoring 15 points a game. And they're giving up 32 points a game. That is just flat out ridiculous. Next game I want to talk about is Atlanta and Minnesota. If you're paying attention, and if you're your first time in, check me out. You can check all this out on my YouTube channels. All the information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Atlanta, Minnesota is the next game I want to talk about. Vikings a big disappointment at 1-4. How about that? Cousins, it's not looking that great, but what even worse is the Falcons at 0-5. I don't know which team is worse. Raheem Morris is the interim coach. I like Raheem Morris. I thought he got a bad shake in Tampa Bay, but I'm not a Tampa Bay fan, and I don't have the previews of things that's going on in Tampa Bay, so I can't tell you yay or nay in regards to that. But I am going to talk about this game right here. Matt Ryan needs to go. He's a better quarterback than me, but I don't play in the NFL. He just looks average. He probably needs to change the scenery. The Todd Gurley move didn't pan out like everybody expected it to. But as far as the impact on the offense, and I think this has to do with a little bit more of Ryan and a little bit of that offensive line. Gurley's playing solid football, had a pretty decent game last week. But overall, it's just, this is a bad, I'm saying this, just been a bad football team. When you blow 2 big leads early in the season, everything's just been spiraling ever since. The Vikings, I just don't know. Dalvin Cook is playing pretty decent. Kirk Cousins is not finding the receivers that he needs. He has regressed so far. Last time these two teams played was last year, actually, and the Vikings blew out the Falcons 28-12 in a game that was in Minnesota. Like this game here is in Minnesota. I'll be giving my picks about these games a little bit later. Next game, Denver, New England. Quickly, New England 2-2. Cam is back. He got hit with the 19. That's what we're gonna call it from here on out. We're not even gonna, we're gonna call it 19. Cam got hit with the 19, and New England's offense just couldn't get it going last game when they played against Kansas City. And with Cam back, I think they should be doing what they were doing prior to Cam's illness, the getting hit with the bug. Denver, I don't know what to say much about Denver. Quarterbacks are a dime a dozen. Driscoll looks. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on with Denver. They need to get that quarterback position settled. They had bad news this week. Melvin Gordon got that DUI, won't be able to play. They say it's an illness, which I don't doubt. But Melvin Gordon will not be playing this week. Last time these two teams played was 2017, and the Patriots just blew. Tom Brady just went crazy, and against the Broncos, and that was that was in Denver. This game this week is in New England, home game for them. Both defenses are in the middle of the pack, but New England has the number 2 rushing offense in the league. I think they'll be able to run the ball a little bit against Denver, and I'll be giving my pick on this game along with Mr. Lima's picks a little bit later. Next game is the Washington football team versus the New York Giants. 2 horrible teams in the league's worst division. New York looked pretty good against Dallas, but they're the Giants, and they performed like the Giants. They should have won the game last week. That game was a very, very, very winnable. It also shows how bad Dallas's defense has been playing all year, because the Giants was able to put up 34 points, and the Giants had at the time the second to the last worst scoring offense in the NFL, ahead of the Jets. Last week, the WFC got blown out by the Rams. Wasn't a good look. Quarterback, running back, everything just horrible. Injuries galore. Ron Rivera hopefully can get this thing turned around. I have a lot of family and friends in the DC area, and just for that simple fact, I hope they're able to turn it around. As an Eagle fan, I'm glad everything happens for a reason. I'm glad they're doing horrible. Last time these two played was last year. It was a shootout. Giants and Mr. Jones was able to pull it out, 41-35. That was in DC. The Giants still have the 31st scoring offense. Scoring 16 points a game. They're giving up 26 points a game. The Redskins is not much better, scoring only 18 points a game. So I think the first team that scores 21 will win this game. Defensively, the Redskins are pretty solid against the pass. They're in the bottom third against the run. The Giants offensively just cannot run the ball. They just, running the ball 79 yards per game. They got to get that going if they want to pull up an upset. I don't even know if it's an upset. I don't even know if they even put a line on this game. That's how horrible this game is. But I guess you got to bet on something. And I bet the over and under in this game got to be 13. So I'm personally betting the under. It's going to be a low-scoring game, 6-3. That's my prediction. 6-3. I'll let you know who I think is going to win later. Next game is the Titans and the Texans. The Titans benefited for that 2 week off, man, and they beat the stew out of Buffalo. Derrick Henry is the best running back in the league. I said this before. CMC got hurt. There isn't a better running back in the league. Jacobs, I will put, close, but nobody puts the fear of God into defenses with that physicality and that speed, like Derrick Henry. And he showed out last week. Last time these two teams played, Tennessee blew out Houston 35-14. I'm thinking it could be something similar this week, home game for Tennessee. Now, Houston got their first win against Jacksonville, and I think they will be able to breathe easy. They don't have Bill O'Brien. Excuse me. They don't have Bill O'Brien and that dark cloud, hovering over them. Deshaun Watson looked a little bit more relaxed in his play from what I saw. So I'm expecting a solid game from him. But Tannehill, man, Tannehill is impressive. If Miami had this Tannehill, Miami probably would have won a couple of AFC division matchups. Now Tennessee is forcing turnovers left and right, and they're not turning the ball over. So Houston will definitely have to keep the ball, have to play pretty much perfect on offense to even have a chance. Tennessee is scoring 30 points a game and giving up approximately 23 points a game. Houston is giving up 28 points a game and only scoring 22. I don't think that's going to change much today. Next game, Ravens, Eagles, in Philly. My Eagles are horrible, man. It's just flat out. I would love to say that injuries have something to do with it. But the play from the quarterback play, even though Carson has had his moments, and I do understand that the offensive line and the lack of weaponry around him is not what it should be. But some of the decisions that Carson has been making, it's just he's still making the same rookie mistakes. You can't throw the ball. I don't care if that receiver is the best receiver in the world. You can't keep throwing the ball in the double and triple coverage. You have to change that mindset. Footwork and his mechanics look off, but he never had the greatest mechanics anyway. You get Carson to run around and everything like that, and he looks pretty good, which was pretty counterproductive to what Doug Peterson is trying to do. Doug Peterson, it looks like he's trying to keep him in the pocket much more. They just gotta let him play. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. No pun intended. Now Baltimore last week against Cincinnati. I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan, and I don't think the offense that Baltimore is running is conducive to his skill set. But who am I? I'm just somebody in parts unknown Texas, watching from afar. But that offense is just too predictable. And they're limited the types of throws for him to make. They just got to let him loose. And if he turns the ball over, he just turns the ball over. He just looked average last week against Cincinnati. They just had more talent than Cincinnati. So that was the reason for the win. But if he plays like this against any decent team, I don't like their chances. And I still have Baltimore going to the Super Bowl. They were my original Super Bowl picks. And right now, they're just looking kind of shaky. They got to get Hollywood Brown going. Hollywood Brown scored his first touchdown last week. But he also has to stay on the field. They just got to get him going. They also have to get the running game going. Lamar Jackson should not be your leading rusher. I don't care how talented he is as a runner, but he should not be your leading rusher. With the Eagles, Miles Sanders with a tender hamstring. We got to see what's going on with him. Travis Fulgham is the leading receiver for the Eagles. They picked him up from Acme. Shout out to all my people in Philly, where he was actually working at Wawa. He's been very impressive the last couple of weeks. He is easily the Eagles' best receiver right now. He can go deep, go across the middle, decent speed, and Carson trusts him. But Carson also trusts Zach Ertz, who's been playing like garbage, and still tries to force the ball into him through triple team. Last time these two teams played was 2016, where Baltimore eked out a 27-26 win. Next thing I want to talk about is Cleveland and Pittsburgh. This might be the best game of the day. Browns, Steelers. The Browns might think they're back. The Browns are like the Hurricanes to me. To give a college reference. But the Browns look pretty good. Baker Mayfield is playing solid football. Odell Beckham Jr. is looking like a top 5 receiver. He looks finally healthy, even though he's hurt, which is an oxymoron. If you can look healthy and be hurt at the same time, but when he's on the same, but when he's on the field, he has been producing. They got to get the running game going a little bit better with Mr. Hunt. He is having a solid season, but it's no consistency with the runs and everything like that. Steelers, Chase Claypool, man. He just dogged out my Eagles. He just, this kid, Notre Dame, awesome. Is nothing that he can't do. Is nothing. He might be the best. Him and Henry Ruggs are probably the 2 best rookie receivers so far this season. Last time these 2 played was last year because they play every year. Steelers struggled to beat an average Cleveland team 20-13. Pittsburgh is averaging 30 points a game. They're giving up 21 points a game. So everything is close. That's what it tells me. They're +3 in the takeaway. They are the number 2 rushing defense in the league. So Cleveland will not be able to run the ball against this defense. This defense is just that good. But you have moments and you have pockets. Miles Sanders was able to break one against the Steelers last week, but the Steelers were able to shut him down every carry after that. Cleveland's offense, man, putting up 31 points a game. Baker Mayfield is looking like the number 1 pick, but their defense is just flat out horrible. They're giving up 29 points a game. I believe that Pittsburgh should be able to put up a lot of points. My boy Marco, for a fantasy standpoint, asked me to play either Stafford or Roethlisberger, and I said Roethlisberger, and that is the main reason that I chose Roethlisberger, because the defense of Cleveland is just horrible. They're 30th against the pass, giving up 29 points a game. Like I said, actually about 30 points a game. But they're number 1 against the run. Go figure. But I think this has to do with the fact that why run the ball against a team that you just throw the ball against? I wouldn't run against them either. I would give my picks about, Mr. Lima, the Rican Gorilla, and my picks on this game in a few minutes. Next game I want to talk about is the Rams and the 49ers. 49ers have Super Bowl, the Super Bowl jinx, the loser Super Bowl jinx. Everything has been downhill since they celebrated with that 10-point lead against Kansas City. They have their attrition rate in the Bay Area is horrible. They will be probably calling me to play. They'll be probably calling me to play defense of tackle for them. Everybody on that defense is hurt. Their secondary is beat up. It's just it just looks like the makings of a blowout. Rams bounce back. They surprised me. I didn't have any faith in Jared Goff. Jared Goff looks great. The offense looks great. Daryl Henderson looks solid. The 49ers in the quarterback. So we know what direction I'm going in that game. The Rams defense only giving up 18 points a game. The Rams defense is only giving up 18 points a game, which is solid. They're scoring 27 points a game. They're exactly zero in the turnover department. That is weird and crazy this deep in the season. They're not turning the ball over. They're not getting any turnovers. So they're even. 49ers, that's just a bad football team. They might be the third worst football team in the league behind the two Jersey teams, because there's only one team in New York. Oh man, they're still pretty solid against the pass. The number 3 passing defense. Their defense has been able to keep things close. Offensively, it's just they're not that great. They just need quarterback play. Jimmy G has a chance to turn things around, but I was never sold on Jimmy G. A lot of people were sold on Jimmy G. They get paid to be sold on these people. I wasn't sold on Jimmy G. He's looking like a Brady backup looks like when they go somewhere outside of New England. Next game. My transitions are horrible. Next thing we want to talk about, Green Bay, Tampa Bay. This might be the second best game of the day behind Cleveland. Behind Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Tom, I don't know. I didn't know it was 4th down Brady. I don't know what happened with Tampa Bay last week. Tampa Bay should have blew Chicago off the field. They was moving the ball at ease early. There was pop locking, celebrating, doing the Cabbage Patch. Next thing you know, Nick Foles became Nick Foles, and they lost. Bruce Arians is a horrible coach. I will say this. He is a horrible coach. He's very overrated. That Buccaneers team, just too many penalties. There are just too many penalties, and not only too many penalties, just too many crucial penalties. And you can't win games like that. You cannot win games with the amount of penalties that Tampa Bay has, and you can't be that undisciplined. They're not playing disciplined football. Tampa Bay should be 5-0. I will go out and say that Tampa Bay should be 5-0, and I should be 205 pounds, and we both know that that's not happening. Aaron Rodgers is my second favorite quarterback in the league, behind Mr. Wilson. Unbelievable season. Aaron Rodgers looking like Aaron Rodgers, man. Everybody talks about Mahomes, the best quarterback. Everybody, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, man. Mahomes looks solid. he has his up and down. Everybody gets caught up with that Andy Reid offense, but Aaron Rodgers have not had a hookup in the last I don't know how many years, and just his consistency and with this offense is just looking unstoppable, especially when you got a back, like Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is that back that is just completely unstoppable. He's one of those unstoppable backs, top 5 backs. That offense, number 1 scoring offense. They're putting up 38 points a game. The defense is in the middle of the pack, only giving up 25 points a game. But when you're scoring at a 38-point clip, that can mask a couple of things on that defense. The last time these two teams played was 2017, where the Bucks got beat by Green Bay in overtime. That was a game that the Bucks should have won. The Bucks should have, the Bucks should have won. Green Bay had a big lead in that game. Bucks came back, took the lead, had a chance to win regulation, but went in overtime. Enough of that. We'll be giving the picks on this a little bit later. Next game, Kansas City, Buffalo. Buffalo had a reality check against Tennessee last week. Jared. Excuse me, Jared. Josh Allen looked like Josh Allen for the first time this year. But then again, they was going into that buzzsaw against Tennessee. Tennessee was fresh. And they looked like they, they was on punishment. They played a team that was on punishment and they were grounded, and that was their first day off from punishment, and they got that beat down. Josh Allen looked at great, made a lot of bad throws. The inconsistency and inaccuracy came back. For the Bills' sake, hopefully there's a 1-week thing. Now the Chiefs played the Raiders, and the Raiders played that zone defense that had Mahomes not looking like himself. It's that that defense had Mahomes throwing into ghosts. I think that they should be able to get that little squared away. They picked up Le'Veon Bell, hopefully for the Chiefs' sakes, that he'll be able to contribute. He is an upgrade to LaShawn McCoy, who they had last year as that number 2, number 3 veteran back. In my opinion, I don't think Le'Veon Bell is shot. To say the least, I think this will be a resurgence of Le'Veon Bell. I am predicting that he will have, just with the Chiefs alone, he will have 600 yards rushing the rest of the season with the Chiefs. Last time these two teams played, 2017, ugly game. That was between my favorite quarterback and my favorite quarterback who doesn't get any respect. 2 quarterbacks that actually don't get any respect. That was Tyrod Taylor and Alex Smith game. And shout out to Alex Smith to be able to come back from that horrific injury just to make it back on the field. Much love and respect there. Kansas City, pretty good offense and defense. 8th in the league in offensive scoring, 7th in the league in defensive scoring. They're scoring 30 points a game. They're at 20, giving up 22 points a game. They have the number 4 passing defense in the league, and they're number 13 against the run with a total. You know what I'm saying? So they're defensively, they've been playing pretty good defense. Last week, I think that just was a little bit of a hiccup just with Buffalo. Buffalo had that big hiccup last week as well. Buffalo is number 2 against the pass. So something got to give between that Kansas City offense and that Buffalo pass defense. Buffalo is turning the ball over. They're -2, so that should be something to look out for in this game. And Kansas City is a +5 in the turnover department. Last game I want to talk about is the Monday night game. Dallas Cardinals and Jerry World. Mr. Dalton is driving the car now. I still got to give a shout out to Dak. You know, much love and respect to him. Hopefully, he will be able to recover from that injury. But Dalton looks solid, man. But Dalton looks solid. That defense for the Cowboys looks horrible. It seems like everybody can score on the defense. Ain't nothing like an easy defense. Cardinals, I don't even know what to say about the Cardinals. The Cardinals is just they're confusing to me. They're hot and cold, in and out. But Kyler Murray looks great 1 minute, looks average the next. But that's usually what happens with young quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks in their second year in the league. But he's already established that rapport with Hopkins. I believe DeAndre Hopkins is the best wide receiver in the league right now. Him and Evans, Mike Evans, Tampa Bay. I think those are the 2 top receivers in the league. The Cowboys, as an Eagle fan, and I don't look at things through Eagle-colored glasses, I hate, I don't hate to see them, see the Cowboys struggle or lose or anything like that. Matter of fact, it's quite enjoyable. But as an Eagle fan, I also know that if the Cowboys can figure out that defense, they'll run away with the division. They'll just, they'll run away for the division. But we know that's not going to happen. Last time these two played was 3 years ago. Dallas just blew out the Cardinals. Any team that's in the Southwest against the Cowboys, it's pretty much a home game. And that's pretty much what it was, except that Jerry World. Jerry World is the only place where the Cowboys do not have home field advantage, which is crazy. Cowboys number 3 scoring offense in the league, 32 points a game. Downfall of that, they're last in scoring defense, 36 points a game. Both teams are turning over the ball at a high rate and not getting any and not forcing turnovers themselves. Arizona is -4 in the takeaway department. Dallas is -8 in the takeaway department. Dallas has the number 1 passing offense. 93% of that is Dak. Andy Dalton might be able to contribute to that. And Kyler Murray and Arizona's in the middle of the pack, 254 yards per game. Arizona has the number 4th rated passing defense at 222 yards per game. If it was Dak quarterbacking, I would say yes. They wouldn't be able to improve upon that. But with Andy Dalton is solid. He still has to show me some more. I never was sold on Andy Dalton. People talk about Andy Dalton that he was Joe Montana when he signed, and Dak was going through the contract thing. Now Andy Dalton get to prove me wrong. Like he knows me. You know what I'm saying? And, but he still got to prove me wrong. Arizona, on the other hand, this is their opportunity. This is their opportunity. Big stage, Monday night. I believe this is going to be a coming out party for the kid, Kyler Murray. Now, the moment everybody has been waiting for, the week 6 picks. Those out there paying attention, subscribe to my channels at Jon Mann Baby. This is on YouTube at Jon Mann Baby, which is JonMannBaby, or Catmann Sports, which is CATM as in Michael ANNDO Sports, all one word. Instagram, same thing, Jon Mann Baby or Catmann Sports. Twitch, Jon Mann Baby. Podcast, podcast on Libsyn at Jon Mann Baby, and Twitch, Jon Mann Baby. But this is the moment y'all been waiting for. Week 6 picks. This is your kid, the world's worst football prognosticator, going against the Rican Gorilla. Last week, the Rican Gorilla and I both went 8-6. 8-6. My overall record for the season is 44-32-1. I came back, kind of bounced back from that very horrible week 1 performance where I went 6-10 in week 1. I'm 44-32-1 for the season. Against Mr. Lima, my record is 38-22-1. And the Rican Gorilla himself is 39-21-1. All right. First game. Atlanta, Minnesota. Pedro and I both have the Vikings. All right. Next game, Panthers. Excuse me, I'm over here choking to death. Whoa, sheesh. So much from livecasting. The next game, Panthers, Tennessee. I'm sorry, not Panthers, Tennessee. Panthers, the Bears, my bad. Carolina, Pedro have Carolina, I have Carolina. Colts, Cincinnati. We both have the Colts. Steelers, Browns. We both have the Steelers. Patriots, Denver. We both have the Patriots. Lions, Jaguars. Pedro has the Lions. I have the Jaguars. Tennessee, Houston. We both have the Titans. Giants and the artist formerly known as them. I have the Giants. We both have the Giants. Ravens, Eagles. Pedro has Ravens. I am doing a homer pick. I have the Eagles just for the simple fact that I need to come back and win. And I'm going to pick the Eagles until they win. Dolphins, next game, Miami, Jets. We both have the Dolphins. Bucks, Packers. We both have the Bucks. Rams, 49ers. We both have the Rams. Chiefs and Buffalo. We both have Kansas City. I have Kansas City reluctantly. I reluctantly have the Chiefs. I have a strange feeling that Buffalo's going to win this game. But for the record, I am picking Kansas City. Monday night game, we both have the Cardinals. Tiebreaker, Pedro has the score 32-28. I have the score 38-34. All of our picks are the same except for 2 games this week. And that's the Lions-Jags game. He has Detroit, and the Ravens-Eagles game. He has the Ravens. I have the Eagles. So thank you for checking in. Like I said, once again, thank you. Check your kid out. Kind of rough. Hopefully by week 23, we get the Super Bowl. I have that ultimate, that studio completely built, and I'll be sounding like James Brown or Kurt Menefee or any other body who speaks about football in a public setting. Like I said, check me out. Facebook, Instagram, Jon Mann Baby, Catmann Sports. Thanks for the time. I'm out.